And hey, we're live. I think we're live.
Wow.
We're
Seems
live.
like it.
We are.
Are we? Really?
Yep.
Nice.
It's alive.
There it is. Hello.
All right.
Something.
So for the banter tonight is the night of the Michaels. We have Michael Bancroft, we have Michael B,
Hello.
and we have Michael
Hey.
B. So it's going to be fun. And some of us are on a delay apparently, so it's going to make things even more interesting. So tonight, let's open up the discussion with what's going on in comic books these days. Before we get into these projects, I noticed everybody's all like talking about the whole Ms. Marvel controversy because somebody's all upset that it's not going to be a full blood, Middle Eastern Muslim. I'm like, huh? I thought you guys were all about diversity.
No,
I mean?
big
No, they're
mistake.
not.
Not at all. Yeah,
Nope.
they're all about being on the right side of their politics,
Yep.
and it doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
If it's going to be a movie about a Pakistani superhero, it's got to be a Pakistani director, Pakistani makeup artist, Pakistani concept artist, everything full Pakistani. And my cat just
Yeah.
walked right in front of the camera.
It's like now an actress cannot play a transgender person in a movie, but right now there's going to be a transgender person can play a woman in a movie. How does that work?
It seems like it seems a
Right?
little
Right.
bit like a double standard to me. It just
No way. Yeah, you're going to have to in 2021. You don't send in your headshot and acting. What roles you play. You just send in your 23andMe ancestry test, and they hire you based on how pure your bloodline is. It's
and then a picture of you in drag if you're a trans, right?
Well,
I think
the good news for me is I'll finally be able to play that ginger Irish
I think
character until he
last
gets.
week the whole. Uh-oh.
Oh.
Guys, I'm gonna hop on my phone because there's way less lag over there, and it's gonna make this way less weird.
All right, we'll
Like,
see you in a
no,
moment.
hang on.
But what I was saying is, maybe I'll finally get to play that ginger Irish guy until he gets replaced by a black man or something.
Oh, you
yeah,
mean the
no,
midget?
that's the thing. It only goes in one direction.
Yeah.
That's the double standard. Like
Wait,
it goes in one direction.
Yeah, so it would be interesting to see them have a black man play a redheaded Irish dude. That would be funny.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've heard black Irish before, but it's not redheaded. So
Didn't they have? I don't know if it was King Arthur or something, played by an Indian guy.
did they?
Wasn't that a
I
thing?
think so,
The dude from the Millionaire movie, Slumdog Millionaire. I'm pretty sure he played some key role in a big British production of one of those medieval.
Yeah, I didn't know. It's like all of a sudden King Arthur's Pakistani, right? Is that what's going on here?
Yeah.
So-
But you need to be accurate on what they want, but they don't have to be accurate about nothing. They can speculate and create and change everything, even history.
Well, I mean, I thought it all got drawn up to what they called as the Hollywood creative license. You know what I mean? Where you could basically just change up whatever to the creative team who's making that particular thing. That initially that was the answer. It's like, let's creative license. This is how we see it. It's like, okay, that's the way you see it. You know what I mean?
Like I said in another stream, I think the problem now is that people don't put the N at the end of movies, and people all forget that they don't live in Hollywood.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah. I think Hollywood is in their own little bubble. That's for sure. When I go, I mean, LA is a different world of its own. So
The writing was on the wall that this stuff was going to take over when they started the Oscar So White thing, and that was at a time when the black representation in the Oscars was, I think it was getting close to 20%. I don't know if it was 20%, but I think it was something around 18 or 19%. And then they were complaining that black people weren't being represented in Hollywood, even though that's way above the proportion in the population, and Asians was way under way under. There was like maybe one Asian represented in the entire
this
nomination.
is the thing this is another thing that gets to me. Okay, so like they're complaining about that, right? But at the same time, you'll have like a black cultural channel. You know what I mean? Which
Dude,
is cool. I'm
it's
totally
like
cool with that. But they would get really upset if there was like a whites only channel, right? I mean,
dude,
that
it's the
would
same
be
principle with
wrong.
the third wave feminism, where they started saying men are not allowed to have men's club, but they're allowed to have women only club, women only gym club.
Yeah, yeah. It's okay to to pretty much be biased to white men only though. But that's what's up with that.
Well, we're the enemy. We're
Mhm.
the
Are we?
dreaded.
What did I do to them?
You were
Did you
nice
see?
with them.
Didn't you listen to AOC the other day talking to that dude in Congress, and she was like, white men are pretty much the cause of climate change and every bad thing
Oh
that's
yeah,
happened in the
yeah,
last 100 years or something.
yep.
We're poisoning the earth.
Right.
There was never a bad person. Like nobody other than a white person ever did anything bad, especially men.
Yeah,
Like there was no woman that never been like nope.
Yeah, women don't drive cars and cows don't
Yep.
fart and yeah.
She just needs to go back to crying in the freezer at the
Katrina
bar.
never
Yeah, I saw
existed.
that was so specific. That was so specific. You know that literally happened.
Yeah.
Okay, I missed that. You guys have to fill that in a little bit.
Oh, she was talking. She was doing a little Twitter quip or something, or it was a post, and she said, anyone who's looking down on waitresses doesn't, has never had to go off and cry in the freezer out back because you gave them a some kind of different drink that they ordered. And it was like, this is very specific. It wasn't just some sort of different drink. What did she say? Like a seltzer instead of a soda or something? It was a very specific story that you know that this actually happened.
Seltzer and sparkling water.
Yeah, exactly. So she was trying to own someone and just ended up coming off as like, oh, so you are really just a scared kind of little girl who's been thrust into this situation here, and you're way out of your head.
Why do you think they're all acting like little kids? It's like they're all scared, they don't understand nothing, and they think that nobody understands them because they're so goddamn special. In reality, it's like, not really.
I laugh when people like talk about things like like wage equality and all that, like this imaginary equality as if men have it amongst each other. You know what I mean? That always cracks me up. I'm like obviously you're not paying attention.
Oh yeah, we have a secret group, dude. We have a secret handshake between all men, dude. Come on. You didn't know that?
Yeah, it was. I remember.
I didn't know that. I must not be included.
When I first started in comics, just trying to, build a thing on Twitter or whatever, I noticed the, visible women and women in comics sort of hashtags, and I said, like, all right, this is some really cool art, but I am not in any position of power here. I'm literally a nobody. Nobody knows who I am. Nobody cares. Mm-hmm. But you're saying that I can't get any kind of extra help because I'm a man and men hold all the positions. They're like, yep, that's exactly right. It's like, no, me personally, I have no power in this situation at all. I'm nothing,
They're basically becoming the opposite of what they, you know what I mean? Like of it was basically what they stand against, but directed to somebody else.
I can give you an example out of comics. Just look here, right? Like I'm a single father, right? Single dads don't have any. You have your life partner, bro, hetero, whatever you want to try and pretend he's like you guys aren't gay for each other or whatever. I don't know. Did that make you feel any better?
No, but it was funny.
Okay, end of story. The point I was trying to make is, being a single dad here, you don't get any of the fucking support that a single mother would get. No, you don't get any support at all.
No.
Not even welfare. Like you would end up losing your job, right? You end up on welfare. They'll give you like $500 that barely pays, that doesn't even pay your rent, dude, right? But they'll give $1,000 something to a single mother. There's there, you know, think about it. It's been like that for quite a little while.
Yeah, well, the logic that they use behind that is that supposedly it's easier for men to get physical labor jobs than it is for women to get physical labor jobs. And I'm like, well, that's fine, but it's easier for women to get stripper jobs and jobs as hookers.
Yeah.
OnlyFans.
Yeah, but if the life was easy, everybody would excel at it.
No, I'm sure there's a lot of hookers that are excelling at that.
It's never been easier.
You can ask Hollywood.
I don't know. It just cracks me up how the double standard is very limited in scope and view.
But why do you think they're trying to make people not learn about history? Because they would know that when there's double standards, when there's a rule for one and not for the, it never ends up well. Because they don't want people. They're going around calling everybody bigots and everybody Nazis. You know, the last people that were doing that, they ended up being the real Nazis. And you know,
this actually, we're joking about it, but this this is like the fact that it's all stirring up pretty hardcore on Twitter right now is like, this is how really bad stuff starts.
Dude, Twitter's making me unlike stuff now. Dude, there's tweets that I know I've liked, and now they're showing, and like I haven't liked. I'm like, what?
Well, the dangerous thing about Twitter is it shows people's id. It shows what they really think when they don't have to stand in front of someone and actually stand behind their words. Yeah. And that shit is just poisonous. Like, to see the amount of interaction that some of these horrible thoughts are getting it's disgusting.
You know what? I would take that one step further, and it gives people a sense of security to be themselves,
or to overcompensate. Because there's also that point. It's not just be themselves. A lot of them overcompensate because you know, hey, you can't prove nothing. You don't know nothing.
Right. Like, how hard can I like show that I'm a part of the group? Like, how far can I take this?
And then there's those people out there that see that shock factor gets attention, so that they try to, you know, create controversy or dwell on controversy or create shock value just so that people will look in their direction.
Right.
Which I think is actually kind of sad, but I mean, it's working for a lot of people. You know what I mean? But I still think it's sad.
Yeah, and all I was gonna say earlier, like before, you know, all the weird delay stuff, like the whole Miss Marvel thing, like I knew something like that was coming because, I mean, the whole thing with the actress that plays Shuri last week just proves that it's like they don't care about gender, they don't care about race, they don't care about these things that they say they care about. What they care is about the message and how hard you're willing to lay into the message. And if you're not, then you're out of the club.
And they have to see themselves inside the book, not the character. That's one of the things that I think it's where it's like, remember that study they did at Lego? That's what it is right now.
Right. Yeah.
The toy thing, it's like right now, that's what's happening. Right now, it's like, we used to have toys that people would project, like, you know, you want to look up to. You know, the characters you look up to, you want to be like, or stuff like that. But, you know, there was a study that said that girls would like more to have toys that they see themselves in. Like, so if you did the plate visage, you don't have to be recognizable. Could just be a square that like that better than actually being actual real features.
I would believe that if Barbie wasn't like the biggest selling girls' toy ever.
Sure, but she's basically. But she's basically what's it called? A totem. Like, she's something that you can project yourself onto.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is. I think the study showed that there's a different way in which girls and boys play with their toys, and the way they.
And right now you're seeing writers like right now, like, see that new I'm not the Starfire there. Dude, she drew. They got them to drew her, and that Miss Marvel there, that Muslim lady, exactly like the lady. It looks exactly like the lady that created her. That's what they keep fucking doing.
Right. The study showed boys want to be Batman, hypothetically, and girls want Batman to be them.
Yep. That's the basic of it. Thank you.
Yeah, see, but that's just teaching girls they don't have to try.
Yeah, but that's not thing. That's also ignoring the fact that there's two different demographics. Except the thing is, you cannot complain if one sells more than the other one because there's more demand or there's more. It's quite stupid.
Right.
Yeah,
No,
but I mean, their logic is really flawed, though. I mean, because by that, that whole, well, let's just make our characters like them, so they don't really have anything to aspire to. They can think that they're great just like they are, and they don't
but
have
why?
to be better. I
The
mean, that's
point,
the whole thing of having superheroes is that we have something to aspire to, right?
dude, it's like do you want to go that far? You can go as far as going like, why don't they create their own? And that's the basic of it, because they can't create their own. They're gonna take other creation that people did, and they're gonna change them into their own
They do
visit.
create their own. They do create their own, but their own bombs. So they try to use something that's already popular, and they try, to force it down, so they can make money, and they figure
Right,
they're
they
going to have
have
an audience. But
they have
remember,
to piggyback on top of it.
the
Right.
Milestorm years when you had what's it, Icon, what was the other one with the Static, and you had all those, right? It was good.
Yeah.
It was quality, but they canceled them because they weren't selling as much. Now that's what I mean by the fact that the
Well,
point is
they weren't. Sorry, man. Go ahead.
my point was just it's not just the people buying, it's also the call that the business made by canceling because they don't make as much money. It's
Well, I can think of a girls' comic that makes a bunch of money. Archie.
Yeah.
Archie is a girls' comic. I mean,
And
sorry,
it's been going on
not
for years.
boys. It's been going on for years and years and years, and it makes a buttload of money.
Sure,
You know what
but I mean, does that ultimately break down to another example of, like, when you really look at Betty and Veronica, there's still kind of that totem thing of, like, you have the city girl and the country girl. Which one are you? Like, I don't know,
Right.
man.
It's like saying like
It's Ginger and Marianne. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Without Ginger and Marianne, girls wouldn't have watched Gilligan's Island.
Yeah, so I mean that's kind of the point where the girls consume media or whatever entertainment differently than the guys do, and now they want girls to come into places and mediums or whatever where it's been almost exclusively guys.
That's why
and
they
the
were
only
pushing
way
the
they can
future is
attract
female.
them is to basically flip the whole thing on the head and make it appeal to girls, which turns off the guys.
Well, I see it a little different than that. I see it like they've subtly decided they can't compete in a men's world, so they have to like fuck up the men's world.
Yep.
So
That's what we're saying.
Yeah, so men have to compete on their terms. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
well,
I'm so sick of women trying to fucking take my balls. You know what I mean? It's like, if you want my balls, put them in your mouth. All right.
I mean, there is a middle ground. It's just most companies aren't willing to do the middle ground work. It's the whole thing that Ethan always says about, like, if you want chicks to go see Aquaman, cast Jason Momoa, and if you want guys to go see it, have Jason Momoa beat the shit out of everyone for 2 hours.
And that works.
Yeah, but
that works.
there's you could also say there's as many, right, male-oriented comics that got canceled.
Well, wait.
Right.
Let's address the Aquaman thing real quick, because Jason Momoa getting girls to watch Aquaman, right, is the same thing they hate about what attracts boys to female characters.
Sure,
You know what I mean?
sure.
Yep.
It's like it's another double standard. They're like, oh yeah, we want the guy to be super fucking fit and super tall and super buff and reckless and dangerous, and you know what I mean. But oh no, the women have to be they have to be frumpy and fat, and it's like, what the hell?
And then
Well,
still
I
make
mean-
a supermodel guy.
Right. I mean, that's just social engineering shit. That's just them saying, like, you're wrong for being attracted to what you're attracted to.
Yeah, well, and that leads back to what Sim was saying earlier, where, barely any of us are built like Jason Momoa, but we don't mind watching him beat up people. Like, that's cool. We enjoy that. Whereas the girls, when they see Amber Heard, or maybe not her, like other sexy women, but, they get angry because they think, well, I can't identify with that. Look how beautiful and sexy
I can't
she
look
is.
at that. I don't look at that.
It's different. It's a totally different. They see a woman and they start competing.
Right, they see her with Jason Momoa, and they're thinking, oh well, I can't get a Jason Momoa or something. Who knows what fucking fucked up shit's in their head? I don't really care. I'm not trying to get in the girls' heads. You know what I mean? It's really weird.
Girls try to say that we're savages and stuff like that, but did you ever see a strip club for women? How they are?
Oh yeah, they're
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's almost like all humans are visual creatures.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Right? It's weird.
Well, all humans with eyes, at least.
Well, sure. Yeah, I don't want to be an ist.
Yeah.
I don't want to be an ist.
So anyway, let's take a look at a book. Let's see here.
Which one?
Let's do
Lucky Dip.
Let's do Lucent.
Woohoo!
Oh, wait,
Wrong
that's
window.
not it. Though. That's the wrong.
That's my DMs, man.
One second. That was the wrong one.
I was dishing up all the goss on everyone in CG, and then
Good thing we didn't see the pic that was just above that one.
Yeah, you didn't want to see that pic, Lucent. That's for sure.
I would never have sent you my dick pics if I knew.
If I knew.
Yes, you would have. Yes, you would have.
I would have.
Yeah, he's not ashamed of it.
That's a good Aussie dick right there.
It's healthy. It's grass fed.
Sweet. So let's watch your video.
Let's do it.
Oh, I hope I clicked audio. I didn't. All right, let's do it at the end.
I mean, I could try and recreate it, but
it'd be better
I
if
don't think anyone wants to hear that.
See what happens when I'm laughing? I just don't pay attention to what the hell I'm
Freestyle pitch.
Freestyle.
No, that should be a stream now. We put the video and we make the creator pitch over it.
Yeah, to see how well they can remember.
Right.
A random one. It would be funny.
We should have a stream where people pitch other people's books.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
When dreams and reality collide.
When dreams and reality. No, I did that.
A life is turned upside down. Thrust into a conflict where ancient shadows fight secret wars. For control of the future. Her allies hide in plain sight. But so do her enemies.
Bing.
Was that inspired by the end of a typewriter?
No, that's like if you watch a lot of trailers like I do, that's the called the trailer ping, and you'll see it on a lot of trailers. Everyone probably realizes that, but
I know it's just making a joke.
No, but I liked your idea. What you said, you go on and you pitch other people's books. Joe Fulton, who goes on my stream, and he's the editor in this. He's such a better pitcher for the Lucent than I am. It's insane. He makes me want to buy it, and I wrote the damn thing. It's really cool. I always start.
I've noticed that that my pitch for Captain Love has gotten very stale. You know what I mean? After
you say it so often that I guess you just kind of end up, kind of just going through the motions, I suppose.
Right.
Yeah, no, it drives me nuts because I feel like I need to tell people what's happening in the issue that's coming out, And the thing is that I have to realize that that is not the approach I need to take anymore. Now it needs to be, just telling them who Captain Love is and getting them excited to, get themselves some love and leave it at that. It's there's just no way I could feed them every issue content separately.
Yeah, and if you're doing a series, an ongoing series, especially with the first one, as I found, you've got to try and do a dual pitch where you pitch them on the sort of whole concept of the series, which in the Lucent is, like we said in the trailer, where it's ancient secret societies warring together in secret, and all this kind of cool stuff going on in the background. But you've also got to pitch it on, okay, well, what's happening in this book? Well, this is the first one in the series, so as well, it's more about seeing the character for the first time, and she's unaware of all this stuff. So you got to try and walk this tightrope of not overselling it, but then of course you obviously don't want to undersell it, and
Right.
maybe anyway. But it is a bit. It gets a bit tricky, especially, and as well, I liked when Joe came up with that this book is a mystery thriller. It's like, oh, that's cool because that's what it is, and that means I can say, well, I don't know, I'm not going to tell you anything because it's a mystery, man, and it's a thriller, and I want you to experience it if you go on and back it.
Yeah, well, it looks really gorgeous. So that is a cool thing right there.
Makes it a lot easier to sell. That's for sure.
And the artwork is really, really good. I this is where I get lost. Like when I get to this page and I see all the architecture, I'm like, oh, dude spends time drawing straight lines by hand.
Well, I use a little bit of computer assistance there to keep the lines straight. So
all right, well,
thankfully for that. Although if I didn't have that, there's no way I would have been able to do a page like this.
Oh, okay, well, you could have just lied and let everybody think you were awesome like that, though.
I mean, even in Photoshop, you can just hold down the Shift key, and lines will end up straight. But in Clip Studio Paint, they've got the perspective rulers, which lock everything to a grid that you set up. So, I mean, it doesn't work for everything, obviously. If you got curves, and which I decided to put in there, like a curved building with a dome on it, and a third of the way in, I was pulling my hair out, saying, "Why the hell did I decide to do that?" I mean, I know it's a cool looking building. But yeah, I can see why comic book artists like to stick to, pretty rectangular sort of buildings.
Right.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, okay, I did that now. I drew that once. I don't think I need to revisit. But then, of course, I set the scene there, so now I've got to draw it friggin' 8 or so times in the background. And it's just a nightmare trying to figure out the perspective on that. But this is what we do. We're crazy people. We're comic book artists. We're insane. I mean, who would ever willingly decide to do this?
I wish I could draw that well. So
back in my art school days, all the people that were going into oils and fine arts and stuff, they thought all the illustrators and comic people were crazy because they're like, why would you want to draw the same thing over and over again? I'm like, I don't know, because we're fucking crazy. I guess.
Because we like to tell a story?
Yeah.
Because we don't have $200 million to invest in a movie.
There you go.
And don't pull the thing that we're not lazy. We are, which is crazy.
Lazy and crazy.
Yeah. We're just so passionate it doesn't matter.
So we have Bronson Gorilla in the chat here. What's up? We got Hex Allen. Pops came in to say hi. Planet Topar, Skip Edwards.
Hey, guys.
Hey, welcome everybody. Glad to see you. Glad to see you all here. You sound off so we can say hi to you. We know you're around. This comic looks really great. I can't wait till this thing comes out. There's elements in here that are just really kind of stunning.
It is, man. Yeah.
this character right here, this is really well done.
Thank you. Yeah, and it's this kind of story. It's very layered. And there's layers upon layers. So I've tried to cram in, I guess, little Easter eggs and stuff all over the place for eagle-eyed readers. And a lot of it in this first issue, you won't be able to know what it means yet because that sort of stuff gets gradually revealed. But I think it makes for a much better, much more enjoyable reading process when you say you get to the second or third book. You can look back and find extra meaning in a lot of this stuff in the detailed backgrounds or what they're wearing or whatever it is.
Yeah, I always like that when you're like, when you like say you collect books in a series and you get to like the fifth or sixth book, and then there's and you go and you're like, okay, and then you start reading like a book like the first or second one, and there's artwork in there that at the time they made that there was no way you knew that was going to be relevant in the chapters, the sixth issue. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I always dug that because you go back and you get more when you read it again.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and that's what I'm all about. They're the stories that I love to read. So that's what I'm making here. That was always my goal with this, was to write a story that I really want to read that doesn't quite exist yet. There's bits of it in certain stories out there, but it didn't quite have everything the way that I wanted to experience it. So I've said, fine, I'm going to make it myself, and it's got all that stuff, all that cool stuff in there, history, alternate history, conspiracy theories, strange powers and mystery. Now, I love stories where they drag the mystery out. I always find, when you kind of get the big reveal, it can be a bit underwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as you can keep people entertained with the mystery, I like to have that going for as long as possible.
Yeah. That I find when telling a story, depending on how many pages is of the story itself, you know what I mean? Like if you're doing 24 page, floppy, or a full page, a full length thing, having a arcs inside arcs is always good.
Mm-hmm.
And timing, like with a comic book, the best thing, I mean, it's like for me, is because I obviously make my own comics. I can choose when the page flip is going to be. I'm not worried about some ad getting thrown in there. So I like to time things based on what page they're on. You know what I mean? So it's just one of those things that I've gotten like myself hooked on, to where you get people thinking there's going to be one thing and they turn the page and it's not quite what they thought, or or that's where something it's
and I guess I'm just fortunate in that I grew up reading comics. I must have picked up on a lot of that stuff just through sheer osmosis. I just absorbed it subconsciously, and after sort of starting to build the comic book, I come across certain things where, like, you really need to be doing this and that, and I've said, oh, like, I'm already doing that, and I didn't even realize that I should be doing it. And I think I just picked it up by just being a fan of comic books. So that was a little, some little happy accidents along the way are always good.
Yeah.
And it's it's an interesting little thing. Especially if you want to write longer stories, you've got to have a little self-contained story, and then you've got to have the greater story, and like you said, arcs within arcs.
Yeah.
So I'm really happy that I got Joe on to help me with making sure that all that stuff is in the book exactly how I want it and need it to be. And I can't I can't suggest it enough, especially if you've got a layered story. It's something that's a bit deep and mysterious, to get other people to check out what you're doing, so that you don't miss anything and screw up any, make any potential screw ups that could really hurt you in later on if you haven't included it in the earlier books.
So tell us about the this character here.
So that's Ella. She's the main character, and I always sell her as like kind of the Luke Skywalker, Neo type character. So there's this world that exists around her. I mean, it exists around all of us. We just are unaware of it, much exactly like she is. She does. She has something a bit interesting in her that's got to do with her dreams, um, and but she doesn't understand that. She doesn't realize this. Doesn't realize the significance of it or anything. So she is special in that sense. I guess you could call her sort of like a chosen one type character. But in this first book in the Lucent, she has no idea, about this greater world that exists around her and the role she is kind of going to play in it. And then events take place in this book, and towards the end of it, yeah, she's going to be, like it says in the trailer, like thrust right into the middle of it. And the Lucent is really the story of her discovering that world and navigating it, and going on that hero's journey all the way through it. It's yeah. So you know how Luke was. He was just a whiny farm boy at the start.
Yeah.
She's a girl who works in a bookstore. And, she's going to be in very short order sent on a crazy journey.
Yeah, Luke, being a whiny farm boy, it would make more sense if, when you see the end, the last one where he's, when he's drinking, milk off the alien titty.
Yeah, I was more thinking it's cool when he got to Return of the Jedi and he's a badass and he's in he's in all black and he's staring down the Emperor, and that was cool.
Yeah.
Like, just leave it at that. That's sort of the trajectory that I'm thinking for this character.
Right.
It's going to be eventually, if people stick with it, it's going to be cool to see her journey from this shy, introverted bookstore clerk into the character that I have intended for her future. I gave a little bit of a sneak peek of that in one of the prints, where she's in a library, kind of floating up in the air. But that's sort of where I'm. That's how I've got her as a character, and that's kind of the main character arc of the entire.
So you pretty much do her the way they should have done Rey, is what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. When the shit goes down for her, she's not just going to pick up and just outdo all the people that have been doing it for essentially lifetimes. What I have. It's not the Force. It's not Jedi. It's something different. It's something new, actually, that I don't know has ever been done in a story before. So I hope people are excited to read that. Exactly how the powers work in this story. I can't give all that away because that's part of the mystery. And but yeah, she is not going to just pick it up and be the bestest ever and beat all the boys. That is not going to happen. It's going to be a long journey for her of a lot of suffering and sacrifice, just the way it should have been with Rey.
So I see that the signed book plus extras, and the extras being the stretch goals. Are there other extras? Let's see.
So they're the stretch goals that I had. They unlocked throughout the campaign, which is the you get a 10-page preview comic of the next book, and then the 2 prints. And that one there, it isn't 88.25 inches. That was a spelling error, and you can't change the perks once you've sold one. So yeah, It's not like you don't get a big long banner print that you can wrap around your car or anything like that.
Yeah, no 7-foot print. Darn it.
No, unfortunately. But I think that's cool. I think that's back to $25 US. I think that's a fair amount of content. The book it's an 80-page book. I mean, you get 60 pages of story. I've got this bonus material planned, which I'm not letting anyone know yet exactly what it is. I want it to be a bit of a surprise. It's not just going to be a kind of how it was made thing. It's going to be something I think is a bit different, which I don't think I've ever seen anyone do before. And then there's the 10-page comic. And then the 2 glossy prints, which is, I think that's a pretty good deal.
So I need to ask you a question because I've been curious about this. So it's about the money from Indiegogo. Now, before I noticed that the way that it was all based on the American dollar, and then they would shift your amount Australian amount based on the rate of exchange. Have they changed? Have they changed that to where now, when it comes through, it's not shifting on rate of exchange? Is it
they made it less prominent, which is it was an interesting choice because we'd complained to them that you're showing these, especially the shipping numbers. They were showing the shipping numbers in big without even saying what currency it was. So it was just like. I think it was, for my book, it was $19. For some books, it was $25 or more. And people were getting turned off because they were saying, well, I'm not paying that, not realizing it was in Australian dollars. So we complained to them about that, and they said, well, we can't change that, but we'll do this. And they ended up with what we see here, which is, I don't know, I don't think it's any better. It's got the big $34 up there, which might scare some people off. I don't know. They have to see that little underneath, the smaller shaded out number to see the American dollars.
Right. So what happens to, like, does your overall amount change? Because
the US dollar amount there that you've got it set to will change depending on exchange rate.
If you have yours set to Australian dollars, it'll stay the same, or does it not?
Exactly. Yeah. It'll stay the same. So it's no bother to me. It's just whether or not our back is being turned off if they see, oh, it's costing, this is $35 instead of $25. Why is that? And then they don't, it's not their fault if they don't spend, another couple of seconds seeing whether or not what currency it is.
They should just translate it to whatever currency you're watching from. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think so as well, but
it would make more sense.
They're pretty strict with the whole currency thing. Like we can't set up a campaign in US dollars. You technically can, but you have to have special bank accounts or something like that.
Like I did. I have an account here.
Yeah, like there you go. So
my Canadian account plus I have an American currency account.
Exactly. Yeah, you can set that up as well. But then there's issues with that.
So he has to deal with real money and play money. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. But then the issue, you get another issue with that. So I set my shipping to $19 Australian, which was actually a small hit for me. Not totally manageable on my end, but just a small hit because I wanted to be competitive on the shipping. And that worked out to be about $12 or $13 US. And that's fine. So, but no matter what, I will always get Australian $19, and that's what I need, and that's good. But if were I to set it to start a new campaign and actually, get all the requisite bank accounts and whatever, and then set it to US dollars, then if the US dollar drops or something, then I could end up getting not the amount of money that I need to to do the shipping. So that's dangerous as well.
Well, you shouldn't have to set it to US dollars. It's just they're showing me both, right? They obviously know what I see because you know what I mean. So why not just show it to me in US dollars all the time?
Why indeed? Because that would just make too much sense, I guess.
Oh, dang, it would, right? That would just make too much sense.
I don't know. Every time I back a project that's not in Canadian money or US money, I have the amount under it. Like I have the Canadian currency under it.
Right.
It always shows.
Yes, it does. It didn't used to. It just does now. Yeah. But I mean, if it's confusing anybody, I mean, you could just eliminate the confusion entirely. The problem is obviously the confusion is if we're in different areas, we do see different numbers. So like if we're trying to pitch it or you tweet it out or something, and then you're saying we're just $5 away from 40K, and then someone goes and they're like, what?
Right.
Yeah, and I got that little bit because I was always advertising all my stretch goals in US dollars, and I do have a number of Australian backers who are pretty confused. And then as well, I met the 30K stretch goal, and then I dropped under it. Just pure exchange rate. And then I went above it, and then I dropped under it, and then above it. It happened 5 times that I went under my stretch goal, and then finally I did, crawl my way out and stay out above it for good. But I kind of turned that into a fun, ongoing joke on the show because it was just ridiculous. Like at one point, I was $30,100. So I thought, okay, that's safe. I can announce it and celebrate. And then the next day, it dropped down to about 29,000.
Oh no!
So it like literally just wiped out about $1,000 just through exchange rate.
Mm-hmm.
That's horrible.
Yeah. So I mean, again, I get all the money in Australian dollars anyway, so it's fine for me. But it's just confusing to everyone else.
Well, as long as you're not actually losing any money based on the
No,
exchange rate.
I'm not. Yeah, the only way I lose the money is when they ping me every single month in demand $25 for every single
Transfer,
thing. So
Right.
the campaign is slowing down. Obviously, it's been in demand now for about 3 or 4 months. So natural entropy, it's going to slow down a bit. So eventually, it'll come to the point where I've got to make a decision: do I want to even keep it up and keep spending this $25 fee to Indiegogo? Is it worth it, or do I just kind of
That's
put the
thing with
nail in the
international.
coffin and then
Yeah, well, you can always. There's nothing stopping you from putting together a website and
exactly. That's another thing that I've always wanted to do that anyway.
And taking the money via PayPal.
Yeah.
The people email you directly complaining about your exchange rate. I thought you said 25. I thought you said 25.
And I have to deal with it. Yeah.
All right. So then, and then we got a signed book plus poster and extras, and the poster.
Yeah, and I said that's a folded poster, but I've since decided to change my mind, and I'm just going to bite the bullet. I'm going to send that bad boy flat to everyone. So it's going to, because I think I probably overcharged a little bit on the cost of the poster. So I thought, well, screw it. Backers first. I know most people don't want it folded. I'm just going to pay the extra whatever, $5 or $10, and just ship this thing flat for everyone.
Did you consider putting it in a tube? It is cheaper.
Well, that would be cheaper, but then that would be another additional cost. I've got some cool, they're like oversized Gemini mailer things.
Okay.
And I can put the book, all the bits and pieces, and the poster all in the one thing.
Oh,
and these things are for shipping fine art pieces, so they're very sturdy.
Now I'll have to, when I do my stuff, I'll have to show you how I do it, because it might help you out.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You're talking about how you like roll yours into the Gemini mailer without folding it all the way.
I have seen that. Yes.
It works. He puts it in the plastic sleeve first, so there's still a resistance. So when he just puts it like a taco, like a taco shell around it,
like a book burrito.
Yeah. So it doesn't give it a crease, and everybody that got it, they got it in perfect condition.
Okay. Very cool. All right. Yeah, I'll definitely I'd be interested in hearing more about that.
Yeah.
Because I've seen that. I just didn't know how well it went.
I put mine in tubes.
I mean, that's what I do.
Yeah.
I would.
But you're right. It is an extra parcel, and it is an extra cost.
Yeah. It is. And there's if mailing to Canada is just a pain in the ass. Mailing to Canada, there's extra taxes because it's a parcel. So
it's not just Canada, but yeah.
No, actually, out of every place I've mailed the posters to, it's only been Canada where there's extra taxes versus if I could mail it, if I folded it up and put it in an envelope versus as a parcel, there's extra taxes.
I think you guys get screwed in the States on your postage. It seems to be international postage is
it's crazy
for you guys, because it's actually not that bad here. They've streamlined a lot of stuff. It's pretty competitive. It is slightly expensive, but I think it's way more expensive for you guys to send here than it is for us to send there.
But with the new agreement that they had not too long ago, it also helps our shipping for the Commonwealth.
Yeah.
It has balanced it out a bit because it was going up and down, up and down. Now it's more balanced.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Well, I noticed that when they did the new the trade law, that shipping went up for me for everywhere. It increased slightly. So.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
With the envelope.
Everything but media mail. Media mail stayed the same.
Mm-hmm.
We used to have a Media Mail thing, but they scrapped it.
Here too.
Yeah.
We still got ours. Nah.
For how long?
I don't have that answer, Sim.
I know.
Don't count those chickens before they hatch.
I know.
Speaking of chickens,
I was wondering what that.
You had to call them out.
I know. Yeah. No, there's a bird fight happening just outside my window.
Who's winning?
There's
Now,
two
when you
families.
see a bird fire, are these ostriches?
No, they're Indian miners, I believe. If you've got them, they're very aggressive little birds. They've got little bird syndrome.
And ostriches don't make that sound, dude.
We had parrots out earlier eating off our plum tree. They're way noisier, but they're at least they look cool. These things just look like little ugly birds that annoy me.
If I had parrots hanging out in my backyard, I would 24 hours a day have some kind of like some just derogatory statements on loop for them to pick up. You know what I mean? They go flying around everywhere else in the neighborhood, and they're like, "Hey, you big talking son of a!" You know, it's like,
yeah, you are aware that most parrots don't talk.
I am aware that most parrots don't talk. However, I'm also aware that most breeds of parrots are capable of talking, even as far as small as parakeets. So,
yeah, they're just really lazy.
I would be interested in hearing these. The ones I'm talking about are rainbow lorikeets. They're very pretty. They're not that small. I mean, obviously they're not huge parrots, but they're pretty sizable birds. They're very cool to go out and watch them eat the fruit. Even though they're eating our fruit, the little pricks.
Yeah, they have larger brain pans than other breeds of birds. The whole parrot family.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And then they also have a different style of voice box that can make a wider range of sounds. So instead of like shaping and making words like we make, they just make sounds that sound like words.
Are you aware of the lyrebird? Lyre.
I am not.
It's an Australian bird that can mimic virtually any sound.
Huh.
So they make chainsaw sounds, mobile phones, cameras, humans, trucks, everything.
That's crazy.
They're absolutely hilarious. If you ever have a moment and you're bored, go check out some YouTube videos on lyrebirds. They're friggin' hilarious. The first time you hear one, you think this cannot be real.
I can't wait, because I could just imagine like a chainsaw bird chasing down.
They go like that, and it's crazy.
That would just be hilarious. Yeah, that would just be extremely funny. Actually, yeah, that would be funny. Your Lucent went up, by the way.
Did it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
And then we are going to. I meant to do that before I jumped over, but now Deepwell is up. So, Mr. Murphy, Mr. Michael
that's me.
Murphy. Well, yeah, I hope so.
Last time I checked.
So, you ready with the video here? Let's go watch your video.
Yeah, let's do it, man.
I hope I get the sound on.
There you go.
There's that one scene. Is it on this page in that video that just makes me giggle? Let's see here. Where is it at? Is it on here? Videos I would. No, Okay, so I'm gonna try and find it here in the video. There's just this one like panel that you have in here that
Yeah.
just tickles me, man. When I see it, let's see here. Where's it at? 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 This one. Boom. So she's obviously hanging off of a cliff here.
Yeah.
And she's all smiling, like, "Hi, handsome."
Right.
All dreamy eyed and shit. Just it just tickles me, man.
Yeah, man. Well, like the context is like, despite this like horrible accident almost happening, these are kind of the salad days for the Block family. So, at the very last second, like he makes it and catches her, and it's the whole thing of like, hey, I'll never let you fall, blah blah blah. So, yeah, but I totally get out of context. It makes no sense.
It just kills me. Like every time I see it, I'm like, this just wants to make me laugh. Like,
right.
It's just, I had to like bring that up because my cat is like trying to close my laptop. Okay, so no gods or lawmen are going to save the innocent. It's up to the devil himself. So tell us what about the book here.
Yeah, man. Happy to do so. So talk about like things that you've memorized. Deepwell is a hyper-violent action-adventure story focusing on the Grey Devil, a mysterious vigilante who's out for vengeance against the Block family, a ruthless gang of criminals and killers who run the town of Deepwell with an iron grip. This is a book for readers who want a little grit mixed in with their optimism, and it's for adults only as it's filled with tons of mature content. Despite all the darkness, there is a redeeming story at its core. We're just a little harsh about getting there. Deepwell is drawn by Rafael Dantas with full colors by me. And the best perk for your investment is the swag bag, which gets you a set of trading cards, pinups by John Malin and Vinny Tartamella, and a map of Deepwell hand-drawn by Raphael. We'd love for everyone who's into books filled with sex, violence, over-the-top action to come along with us for the ride.
That did sound very like memorized and rehearsed.
I've done this thing I don't know how many times, man.
So what do you love best about your story?
I love that ultimately it is a Western, but it does have this kind of Shakespearean family drama through line that runs across the entire thing. And yeah, like my favorite part is like when I was developing it, when I realized that the criminals that were all vying for control of Deepwell weren't just random criminals who have all gathered to this place, that they were in fact like one big family. That kind of pretty much unlocked everything that I needed for the story.
Now, when you say one big family, you don't mean like they're all related, right?
They are. They're the Block family. Like,
yeah.
The head of the family is Mama Claire. She's kind of the kind of like evil matronly figure that lords over the entire town, and then you have the sheriff who's the bastard child, and they can't get rid of him, so they put him basically in this ineffectual role where he can't do anything really. And yeah, like the head of the financial institutions, like it's one big family.
So how much inbreeding goes on then?
No inbreeding, but like I said, there's we have the whole bastard through line.
But they're not inbred, is what you're saying.
No, they are not inbred. This is told over the course of about 25 years, and it's the mother and father and their 4 children.
Nice. And then this is the Vinny Tartamella pinup right here.
Yeah, so that's Myra Block. She's the femme fatale of the book. I often refer to her as more thorn than rose.
Okay.
Okay, for the references, every rose has its thorn. Remember?
Thank you, Sim.
You're welcome.
That's just poisonous.
I remember that from Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
Right?
Yeah, you do. The last Bill and Ted movie.
Yep.
Yeah,
last
I'm
one?
not seeing the other one.
Oh, I'm actually looking forward to seeing it. I don't spoil it for me, man. I want to
There are
enjoy it.
2 really good Bill and Ted movies.
And it's not the new one?
There are 2 really good Bill and Ted movies.
Okay, got it.
Okay, and tell us about Titties here. I mean, this character.
Yeah, so that's Myra doing what she does. So what's cool is if we hit, I believe it's 14,000, we're going to unlock an extra 4-page epilogue story featuring Myra Block, drawn by Peter Gilmore.
And who this is? Jacob Block here.
Yeah, that's Jacob Block. He's the father of the family, and he is if Mama Claire is kind of like the baddest bitch on the block, like he is kind of evil incarnate. Like, he's the worst aspects of every horrible, dastardly male figure in Western culture, or I should say Western lore, that you could think of, all rolled into one.
Okay. I could think of some pretty horrible stuff. So
yeah, you've got a bit of Gene Hackman in there. You've got a bit of the Man in Black. Like there's all types of stuff going on with Jacob. I really enjoy writing him, and I can't wait for people to know more about him so that I can talk more in depth about the family in book 2.
I gotcha. I felt that way about Captain Love. It's like I didn't want to talk too much about what was in the backstory of the first book until it had been out for a little while and people could start reading it. Yeah.
Yeah, and like you add the Gray Devil on top of that, and like not wanting to spoil the mystery of who he is and how he's connected to the Block family, and it's just this thing where I'm like, basically to the readers, like, hey, trust me for book 1, and like we can get into like all types of spoilery discussion when I start soliciting for book 2.
All right. So what else do you want to tell us about this book before we go through your tiers?
Yeah, man. So it's 32 pages. We're hoping that for book 2 we can bump that up to 48 pages. And yeah, like Raphael is incredible. He's killing it on the art. We're about halfway through production right now. I think he's currently penciling page 14, I think. And yeah, like so far we're on track for an early 2021 fulfillment date. First up we have The Gods Fear Me, which should be about February-ish, and this will probably be somewhere between April and May.
Nice. All right, so there's the swag bag tier.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine that's a little everything, right?
Yeah. So yeah, like I was saying in the pitch, that's the trading cards, the 2 pinups, and the map of Deepwell.
Okay. And then this is just one copy of Deepwell,
Right.
Obviously shipped.
Right.
And then this one is the alt cover by P. Acevedo.
Yep, Bess Preston.
I know. I just think it's funny that it's the P. Alt cover physical copy, $15. Digital book and prequel for $20. So the digital, and then is the prequel is also digital. Then at that point, right?
Right. Yeah.
And then 2 physical copies for $25. You got the 2 Acevedo physical copies for $25. 1 copy of each cover for $25. You have the Malin exclusive. Now, is that the pinup?
Yeah. So originally, when John agreed to work on this project, it was just supposed to be a pinup for the swag bag. And, over the past couple months, like I've had a bunch of people say, so is that a cover or is it not a cover? And I'm like, no, it's a pinup. And it got to the point where everyone was like, it needs to be a cover. So, like me and John talked and worked some stuff out, and this cover is only going to be available for this campaign. It's not going to be a part of the Leftovers campaign, and when we do book 2, it won't be available there either.
Yeah, interesting. Very cool. And then single copy and prequel mini.
Right. So this is if you just want all the story.
Okay. And then support the troops. Which service do you use to get the books to the troops?
Operation Paperback. We've been doing it since Samurai and Dinosaurs, and it always sells pretty decent on all of our campaigns. And I don't know. I don't see any reason to stop now.
I have a question for you. Operation Paperback has a thing about adult content. Is this book going to be too adult for them? Because Captain Love was.
Right. So I haven't crossed that bridge yet, to be honest. I'll be honest with whoever the contacts are, but if it is, I will figure out an alternate route. What that alternate route is, I don't know yet. Like it's too far out for me to like plan yet.
Okay. I was curious about that because Operation Paperback had a very that was like one of their prerequisites about adult content. Yeah.
Right.
And they don't, and adult content like in porn. I mean, just like any nudity, that kind of stuff. Which
Oh yeah, and there is going to be plenty of nudity. So yeah, I know it's something I'm going to have to like triple check with them, like look into alternates.
Yeah, you might have to look into alternates because again, Operation Paperback would not let me do Captain Love through them.
Right.
So I just after they said no, I was like, it's probably going to be the same across the board with those third-party services. So
yeah, I don't expect it to be much different for us, but I don't know. Like I know there are other options out there, so I'll get it to them somehow.
Yeah, excellent. All right, and then looks like you have the Drogas Blanco special.
Yeah. So this is our like high tier backer level, and it comes with everything. It comes with everything listed in the campaign. You're going to be getting the swag bag, both alternate covers. You're going to be getting a proof copy of Deepwell that's going to be limited to 1 of 5. And you're also going to be getting an 11 by 17 illustration done by me and watercolor painted by Selena Hernandez. And you're going to be getting the last page of the book, the physical last page.
So you're like a print of it, right? Because there's only going to be one original art.
No, it's the original art, and what makes it even more special is Raphael is.
So that's why there's only one available because you're getting the last page. I got you.
Yeah, the last page, and also Raphael only does digital, so this will be one of the rare cases of him like drawing physically.
I gotcha. And then you sold your drawn into the books.
Mm-hmm.
And you sold the original Preston art.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, and let's see, your campaign is at 12,000, which is not bad, and you wrapped it up at July 23rd. So.
Yeah, I figure probably late February, early March is when we're going to shut down the campaign. So I'm hopeful that by then we can hit 14 because I'd really love to toss in that Peter Gilmore story.
Right. Now, if you hit 14 right before you finish, is it going to delay the process to get that Peter Gilmore story in the mix?
I mean, like most of us know Peter. Like the dude works pretty fast. Like there may be a couple week delay, but I don't see it being a huge issue.
Right on.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds awesome, man. So,
thank you.
Any last pitch before we switch over to the third Michael of the evening?
Well, not for Deepwell necessarily, but if I could ask everyone out there that is interested in Chibi Comics, interested in what we're doing with Deepwell, please give The Gods Fear Me a look and consider backing because we're going to be shutting down that campaign on New Year's Eve.
You're shutting it down? So
yeah. Yeah, because we're going to be doing pre-press and then fulfillment early next year.
Yeah, you're not going to overrun it?
No. Like usually what we do is we do a leftovers campaign like a month or two after we're done with fulfillment.
Okay. So a leftovers campaign, and that basically that's just the ones that you had left over for replacement that you didn't replace?
Right. Yeah, it's the end of the first print run. So, like when that's gone, like the print run's officially done. And we move on to the second printings when we do book 2 for each of these books.
Okay. All right, so everybody get that. Go check out The Gods Fear Me and snap that up before it closes out.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks a lot.
All right, let's switch over here to
All right.
to Michael Beacon. I always want to make a light in the dark joke when I. It's light in the darkness.
He is the beacon.
He is the beacon. So let's watch your video.
Okay.
You know, the only thing that was missing was a picture of your kitchen sink, man.
Yeah, true. It was a fairly long trailer, but it was sort of like a celebratory thing.
Just start the other trailer. It's in it.
There's another trailer?
I'm joking. There's another trailer. It's the shorter one, but
yeah, it's got some of the older version of the colors. But yeah, so as I said in the trailer, it's Star Wars meets Skyrim and Seven Samurai. It's set in a universe where the Earth was once part of a galactic alliance until a faction of humanity turned on the other races, and those humans were exiled to Earth and were essentially reduced to the Stone Age. And now that's where human history as we know it began. So yeah, it's a cool setting. Fantasy races reimagined as aliens on other worlds. I could imagine if all of mythology was actually based on real events, but just remembered wrong. Remembered from the perspective of a an old Greek or something like that. So, yeah.
All right. Well, tell us about the book a little bit.
Talk about the goddamn dwarf. I'm joking. Go ahead.
Okay, so this is just the start. This is issue 1 and 2. You'll get it in a mini trade sort of thing, 50 pages. So this it starts off with like Azrakal. He's just uncovered a plot to infiltrate and destroy the 7 legions from the inside. After being tricked into killing the innocent, and now he's trying to expose that. But before he can, he vanishes. You'll see why in the book. And then you find out that this was actually a dream. That this was actually seen in a dream by a kid in feudal Japan named Hiko, who's just an orphan in some feudal village. But he finds out these are actually real events, and now he's got to help solve the mystery of where Azrakal went, like what happened to him, what he knew, and all that. And at issue 2, you see the start of Azrakal's military career, and you get to see his old friends, including the dwarf Jogar Ulfsted, who is a fan favorite so far. A dwarf on a jetpack with a rocket axe. What's more to say, Yep.
It's awesome.
And he's gonna have his own story too.
Yep, he's gonna have his own story in Inkslayer.
Yep.
But yeah, the rest of the characters are pretty cool as well. You got Alana, the psychokinetic specialist. She specializes in her telekinesis and pyrokinesis. Midriel, the sniper, who's a little shy, winds up being the butt of all their jokes, pretty much. And you got Josiah, the blood elf heavy weapons guy, who is constantly cracking jokes. And of course, the leader, Azrakal, he is a seraphim biologist. And yeah, he's 2,000 years of experience. He, sort of the Captain America sort of type character. True believer in the cause. Yeah.
Okay. So, what do you like most about your book so far?
It's a very rich setting, and the art's turning out great. I mean, Henry, like between issue 1 and issue 2, Henry's art stepped up drastically in quality. And Pablo's art is awesome. It has like a really old school anime sort of style. But yeah, I think people are going to love the setting. It's fantasy without magic, sci-fi, as realistic as possible without being while still being entertaining. I would consider it kind of like Interstellar or like Asimov type of sci-fi, like the based in realism as much as possible. I mean, it's still got telekinesis and pyrokinesis and stuff like that, but it's all sort of explained in ways. But I don't waste pages explaining it or anything. But yeah, it's also got this historical fiction side where I'm going to try and do justice to the time period it's set in, which is like it's set in the Sengoku era of feudal Japan, which was a time of truly chaotic civil war. Just like clans, like every clan was at war with each other. You'd have like it would be like if LA were to go to war with like San Diego or something, which I don't know, maybe that's possible.
Give it time.
Yeah, it's just like
they're not at war already.
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I can say one thing
from somebody, YouTube.
From somebody who read it and why I like it. It reminded me a bit of, if you know, Alien Legions from Epic Comics. It reminds me of that, but if you realize that it was not in the future, it was during feudal Japan.
Yeah, it's like there's not. This isn't a time travel story. The only jumping and back and forth in timeline is because you're seeing memories out of order. So like issue 1, the memory is set like toward the last known memory of Azrakal, but issue 2's memory is like right at the start of his military career. So there's like a 1,500 to 2,000 year difference in that time. But it's not due to like some sort of time machine or anything. And like, while it's feudal Japan on Earth, there's all these civilizations up there with all this high tech stuff, and you know they got like these interstellar empires and everything. Yeah.
Right on. So, yeah, Henry's work is getting pretty impressive, right? So.
Oh yeah, I would say his style sort of shifts between like Bushima and I can never remember this guy's name off the top of my head, but the guy who did Samurai Jack, like depending on the
Tartarovsky.
Yeah, it's like a shift between that depending on the height of the action. Like when it's like high action scene, it goes more like Tartarovsky or whatever, however you pronounce it. It goes more like simple, but like scenes like here goes highly detailed like Bushima. But yeah, he's got a really cool style that he's developing. Just like but yeah.
Well, right on. So, what is the thing you want people watching to take home with them? If they're not going to back it right now, to like get them to mull it over so they'll come back and back later.
Well, right now it's shipping out, and as soon as you order it, I'm going to ship it out. It's on demand fulfillment, and it's people are really loving it. Like I got one reply that says someone emailed me who bought it, said it was the best comic they've read in years. I mean, that's just one person's opinion, but a lot of people have been enjoying it.
Must be a pretty cool thing to hear.
Yeah, oh yeah, that was great. I was just like, well, I'm not quite sure if I agree, but that's awesome that someone sees it that way. I think it's gonna be a pretty cool. It's gonna be a great series.
You're all thanks, Mom.
Yeah.
You're like, sir, this is a Wendy's.
Yeah.
But no, that's cool. Like people have different tastes, and they're looking for a certain story. That's what's really cool about doing this over the internet, is you can find those people and they sort of become your super fans.
Oh yeah, and it's just great knowing that people loved it. Like it's like the story, like the art, yeah, it's people are just loving it. And one thing people liked that I told you I was going to talk about a little bit ago, how I fold the posters. Now these are some posters that got damaged here. So what I do when I'm putting the posters, you can get those as an add-on when you back the book, because it's sort of done as a streamlined sort of setup. You just sort of buy it, you back the main book, and then you add on the posters. So what I do when I pack them, I put the posters around the book. No folds or anything. Of course, they're usually in a sleeve, and then I put them in one of these mailers. They're U-line mailers. You sort of wrap it around them. There's no crease or anything, and these ones had been in a package. That's about as close to a crease as you get.
Yeah, so that would be easily smoothed out. You could just put it in a frame, no problem. You wouldn't even see it.
Yeah, so it's this isn't much bigger than this thing when it's folded is not much bigger than a Gemini mailer. So yeah,
cool.
Very cool. So get you guys selves some 7 legions before there's an 8th one. When's the next one going to be coming out?
I'm planning next year, sometime next year. I was initially saying spring, but I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna aim for next year. All this COVID lockdown, the finances of that, is sort of just don't want to set a specific time frame yet, but definitely sometime next year. But yeah, I'm hoping next year to be able to do the next 3 issues. But yeah, you're also going to get a side story about the dwarf. You're going to be getting that in Inkslayer, and I'm also planning on doing an audio series, like those old school audio plays. That's going to also be a side story. It sort of connects to that initial that first, what he's talking about in that first panel. There's some angel.
Why is
Get
there
more
not
background story.
Why is there not a picture of the dwarf on this campaign?
Did not have it out there. Okay.
I think you have it in the updates when he's killing Chris.
Is that what it is in the updates?
Yeah, I'll find it in the book. Of course, my cat's trying to get in the way. Let's see. Let's sort of flip to it. Yeah.
There you go.
So let's see. Is it lined up? There it is. Yeah. Oh, yeah. There he is. Whacking Chris. Chris as an orc Chris in the face.
Mm-hmm. Right on the nose. Right on the nose.
Cleaving his face in two with that rocket-powered axe.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like the previous shot too when he's just slashing at him, like
Yeah.
with the jetpack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's jetting ahead of everyone else.
First thing I told him is, you have a dwarf in there. He's not the main star of your goddamn book. What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, you have a jetpack, rocket-powered axe dwarf. And he goes, yeah, he also has a Viking mech suit. I'm like,
yeah.
What?
The fuck?
And you're gonna see all that in the Inkslayer story.
Yeah, and I'll be joining.
Yep.
Fun times. Well,
fun time in the sun.
Speaking, let's see. Did I put that in the? I'll do it now. Okay, so all these books links are in the chat. So if you are looking for a shortcut to there without having to go search for it, that's where you go. And then next up, let's talk a little bit about this book. Right? Where the fuck did it go? This book right here. Boom.
You sexy motherfucker. Yep. Tales from the Nadverse. Go back. It's an anthology series with 5 short stories, all leading to Nat the Merc. Play that video.
Tales from the Nadverse. This ongoing anthology collects short stories introducing characters within the Nadverse and are all connected to the main series, Nat the Merc. This 64-plus page perfect-bound anthology series collects short stories introducing Nat, Lawani, Rose, Zed, and other characters within the Natverse that you'll get to know and love in this prelude. This volume contains 2 previously published Nat stories, as well as the previously published Helena Rose stories, introducing you to those characters. In addition, you'll also be receiving 2 brand new stories by Simon Sim-Paultier. Royal Rumble, colored by 7 Legions Michael Beacon. Also, Nat and Zed, colored by Spartan Scotsman of Xenotype. Arm up and fire off into the Natverse.
Hell yeah. Listen to him. Go back to book.
Yeah.
Wanna share my screen for a sec?
What's your next? Yeah, sure. What's your next stretch goal?
Next stretch goal, we unlock the next 3 stickers by 6 a.m. Then after that, we unlock the Bisley print and the Joe Ball print. Yep.
So we're trying to get you to 7,500 to unlock the 6 a.m. stickers.
Yeah, but I think the 10 would be better because you also get the Simon Bisley print.
Well, one sketch stretch goal at a time.
Yeah, but you know.
Yeah.
I'm being greedy.
I'm not trying to be greedy. I'm just trying to be, honest here. Bisley print. Come on. So this here is Inkspot doing the coloring for the presentation of the book. So that's going to be the interior cover with the credit page. I'm gonna all the the credits going to be in the explosion here.
Nice.
Here, this is Michael Beacon's colors on the cover for Elrica.
Yeah.
And he's nailing it. Like I keep saying, he's going Super Saiyan on my book.
Is that? Did you say ink spots?
No, that's Beacon.
Yep.
Oh,
It's me.
Yeah.
hello.
And look, you even have the big nose of Chris right here too. You want to see more cameo? You're gonna like that one. Remember? Are you my mummy? Yeah, Bender, Mars Attack, and look who's in this watching.
Feet up, like a boss.
Yeah.
Here's some the first color page that he did. That's Beacon.
Yep.
So now Scotsman just finished Xenotype, so he's starting coloring his Nat story. And here's more of Inkspot stuff. So this is a painted cover over my pencils, right? That's going to be the cover for Tales from the Adverse 2. But it's also going to be a print that's coming with the book if you go back to the physical copy of the book. And they're all like cardstock comic book size. So there's no crease, no folding, no nothing. It's like, those classic Ex Libris art prints, like on cardstock.
Huh.
And look what Inkspot just did. We just found the right mix between my penciling and his coloring, and we're going to be doing a full story of Nat, right, and Loani for Inkslayer, like that.
That looks so good, man.
And we're going a full 60-page with one story where it's going to be a perfect mix of my pencils and his colors just like that, and I just can't freaking wait. Like 6 a.m. said, it's like we're like peanut butter and jam. We're so different, but we mix so well.
He's a bit of a phenom, that dude.
Mm-hmm.
Ink spots.
And here's the colors he did for the interior back cover of the book, celebrating the return of Nat.
Nice.
Nice.
And this is a sample from Tales from the Adverse 2 that I'm working on.
Sweet.
So yeah, you definitely want to go back that book, because right now I got Tales from the Adverse 1, 2, 3 lined up. After that we start Nat the Merc, and there's also Inkslayer coming, and you definitely won't want to miss that one.
Yep. Here's a little bit of
What's
Here's a
this
little-
here, Mr. Biker Beacon?
Yep. This is another panel from Elrica.
Looking good.
Yeah.
So the
Good
colors
spot.
are a bit delayed, but we're looking to be able to print in January and fulfilling, so we're
Yeah.
just a little bit delayed.
Mhm.
We really, really, really wanted to go to print right after the end of funding, but
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be nice, but it's not. Right now the way that the financial climate is, what I mean, it makes sense to take your time.
Yeah, and I don't want to rush the colors. Like he's been nailing the freaking colors. Scottman, he just finished Xenotype, and he's I want the book to look good. So everything's lined up that we're gonna be going to print January and start fulfillment. So we're not that much late.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So,
gave myself a bit of a window as well, and the colors, they take time. If you want them to really sing, you got to take your time on it. You can't rush that shit.
Mhm.
Yeah, And we all, when we first discussed it, we were like, yeah, we can make it happen for at least having it for Christmas. And we're like, it's not happening. When we passed the second week of November, where it was the last like final day to start delivering, right? We're like, oh no, it's not happening. So I started warning everybody that we were behind schedule, and the November December was not doable.
Yeah. Well, I might still make the Christmas deadline with Captain Love, even though my printer is telling me that they're going to have to slow down for Christmas because LA is shutting down again. So, like totally shutting down. Print shops closing. So, yeah. So hopefully, he's I haven't got a committed date out of them yet. You know what I mean? I know that, they
is that Nixon?
Yeah. It'll still get done, and it'll get done quick. I mean, it just might end up being like the week after Christmas or something. I'm worried about that. So.
But that's why I just said, like, instead of saying like we may be able to do, I'd rather just go like, well, I'll say January. Like I would have said, like giving me like the 2-month extra.
Yeah.
No, like, and as soon as the colors come in, we're printing.
Yeah. Well, I'm already in going to print mode. It's just that I'm dealing with potential delays because COVID shut everything down, and the reason why I can't get any kind of firm answers because nobody knows how long this is going on or anything. So
yeah,
sure.
Well, we were in full lockdown when you guys were free, and now we're out, and now you guys are going back into lockdown. I'm just worried that this is just going to go like a friggin' roller coaster for God knows how long.
Well, here's the good news. Okay, so the Britain is doing a vaccine finally. It started today, and then the U.S. in the next couple of days are going to start doing a vaccine. So by this summer,
we have one.
Yeah, by this summer we should actually,
but they're not tested.
Well, the one that they're going to start doing in the U.S. is tested. I think that it's the same one. It's just everybody's going to get their hands on it, and then there's going to be a lot of different vaccines. So that as more of them get approved, there'll be options. So with that good news in hand means that usually by this summer, hopefully by this summer, things will start getting back on track. You know what I mean? We'll probably have some conventions again. By fall for sure, we should be having conventions. So
sure.
I'd rather go like let's get used to this status quo and let's be surprised and celebrate when we're gonna get out.
Right.
Because everybody's gonna get depressed because it's been happening like 3 times so far where it's like, oh, we're almost there, and everybody thinks they're gonna and you having a lot of like, people don't talk about it, but suicide rates are up as fuck.
Yeah, it's higher than it's been in decades.
Yeah.
But it is a real thing. The vaccine is there, and they are starting to distribute. The FDA have just approved it. For US, which means that we're going to start doing it here. We're start and
it finally went through all the testers.
Yeah, it finally passed at the FDA today.
Okay.
Today.
Okay.
And then so that means that it's going to circulate, and based on the numbers of production, and obviously there will be other vaccines that come out. It's not even like unrealistic to think that by summer, most people will be vaccinated, and we'll be able to comfortably circulate again like human beings. However, between now and then, who knows how bad shit's going to get. I mean, it's Congress didn't do any.
How much you want to bet they're still going to push us to wear masks now in places?
Oh no, we're still going to have to wear masks until the actual herd immunity takes place, and then let's be real, right? It's during flu season and stuff like that. Wearing a mask is probably good anyway. You know what I mean? But we're just selfish sons of bitches that don't care about spreading around the flu bug. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. And the truth of the matter is we're gonna be suffering for at least 4 more months, if not 5. And that's just going to be how it is. So, but when it's all done, at least they'll at least we'll be able to find some kind of normalcy for those of us who can survive this really messed up time. I'm looking forward to conventions again. I don't know about you guys and how many convention you guys attend on the regular, but that was my whole business plan. You know what I
don't know.
mean?
Me, in Indiana was not going as much because it weren't that much about comics anymore.
I've never been to a convention.
Really?
No.
Huh.
Yeah, I was getting a really good response for my book in conventions, and I was at least making the cost of the conventions back on the book. You know what I mean? When I was selling there, and now that I'll have more inventory and more chapters and more posters and more stuff, hopefully, I'll be able to make even more money off of that. And eventually, the conventions will probably put me in the green at some point because holy crap, I'm sick of being upside down on this project. So, with all that said, please back Captain Love and listen to this song and never forget it.
Hi, my name is Drewish, and I'm the author of the Captain Love series. I want to tell you all about the second book, Rise of the Pirate King. Yeah, that's a thing. And in this book, you're going to get everything that you would expect from Captain Love. Yeah, you bet. And I'm blessed enough to be able to use an amazing creative team. If you know what I mean, if it feels like the universe is caving in and you need love to the rescue, and it seems like nothing will be right again, you need love to the rescue, Captain Love to the rescue. Oh, yeah. Now, Captain Love is a space trucker and a former war hero. There is even a legend that he may be immortal. He's accompanied by Spade, who's a living AI. Yes, I said immortal. As in, he cannot die. And it feels like the universe is caving in and you love to the rescue. And it seems like nothing will be right again. And you love to the rescue. Captain Love to the rescue. Oh, yeah. In this book, you'll get space pirates, sexy girls and science monks. There'll be bar fights, space battles, and a lot of awesome junk. There's nudity and violence and swearing within, so this book is mature. That means it's not made for children. And you feel like the universe is caving in, there'll be love to the rescue. And it seems like nothing will be right again. There'll be love to the rescue. Captain 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 Love to the rescue.
Thank you for your time. Please back Captain Love and help me share this character with the whole world. And if you're not too busy, like and share this video and help me spread the love. Stay awesome. Yeah, so Captain Love is in demand now. We will be going to print as soon as humanly possible. The stretch goal for the 5K has been reached, which means that there will be a beautiful print pinup included with all of the book and trading card and everything that you ordered. Awesome. So I want you guys to get yourselves in on this before it's too late, obviously, which, too late means that stretch goals are limited. You know what I mean? So like I only order enough to fulfill the people that have backed at the time I order. So if you didn't get in, you may not be getting the also, the next chapter of Captain Love will be coming out probably spring of 2021, roughly. With everything going on in the world, it's difficult to predict the future. So, but we're on track to making that happen. So everybody be excited that it's going to go down. Basically, there's also a big announcement coming very, 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 very soon. I'm not going to give too much detail, but there is another comic book series that I am working on that will be announced after the first of the year. So keep a lookout. It's completely different than Captain Love. It's completely different. So everybody, make sure you go back and you get yourselves some of these books. Their links are in the. I need to put Sim's link in the chat. The links. Did I put that person there already? Links are in the chat, and we want you to basically gorge yourselves on our indie comics, because what better use of your money? I can't think of a better use of your money.
None. Who needs to eat?
Yes, food second.
When we have indie books,
comics,
bills, whatever.
Yeah, the mainstream's not that great.
It's really not.
Food can fill your.
That's the last on my mind,
dude. If you pay attention, their sales, their sales are down everywhere, right? But you know where they're making their money? The reprint of all those freaking omnibus and all the greatest hits from Kirby, Jim Lee.
Sim, I have had this discussion with many an SJW on Twitter, and they assure me that I am an idiot if I think that comic books are going downhill. They said this is the best comic books. This is the best state comic books have been in for over a decade in both quality and sales, and that I'm a moron, and I need to stop listening to comics.
Yeah. I mean, have you seen how high YA and manga sales are? Like, you're crazy, man.
Yeah, exactly. Do you see the amount of books on the shelf that remain on the shelf from the first day till the last day?
Pish posh.
Yeah, and you got that story where Starfire had a kid with Penguin,
And if you look at their stats, the only numbers that's going up, it's their omnibus sales and stuff like that. That's where the only place they're making money. Who remembers all those truckloads that they went to download those? No, not download, but drop those freaking SJW trade paperbacks to dollar stores because they didn't sell.
Right.
Yeah, but then they said I'm just looking at the surface level, and I'm ignorant, and I don't know what I'm talking about.
I think in 5 years we're gonna end up with remember the ET video game?
Yeah,
I think that's what's gonna happen.
In 50 years, they're gonna go back and look for all the buried. Yeah. They're gonna make a documentary about going for the hunt to find the burial site.
Right.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I'm not Starfire. In other words, I'm not selling.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, it's like I'm not Starfire. No shit, you're not Starfire.
No, but she is trying to sell her fat ass, though.
Oh, the audacity!
Dude, come on! It's like you see the picture next to her. You're like, you look like that little dwarf in the Indestructibles. Is that it? Yeah.
The Incredibles.
The Incredibles. I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, and then you're like, you see the character, you're like, and you put yourself in there. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, out of anyone who shouldn't have put their themselves in a book, it might have been.
Yeah, I know, right?
I can just picture her and all of her teenage like, you don't understand, Ma. Wah, 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 wah.
Imagine Gail Simone. She's the new superhero. Oh, they did it with Fate. It's true.
That was Gail Simone in her early 20s.
Gail Simone.
Remember Fate at Valiant?
Oh yeah.
Oh wow, dude.
I forget.
I try not to.
A girthy,
dude,
voluminous book.
The first time I saw the character, I'm like, dude, that's fucking Gail Simone.
Yeah, that's yeah, there's really very little positive to say about any of that. So I'm left speechless.
So yeah, have a good night, everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching, everybody. We'll leave it on that, and thank you for coming to another wonderful episode of Indie Comics Interviews and Back These Books. And we shall see you next time. Thank you for coming.
Later.
Later.